All right. We're back with another live stream. It's Tuesday for the Malapert Smart Podcast YouTube channel. It's AEW day, so I like to do AEW separately from WWE because, man, it's just a completely different world. So I get in the mindset. Lately, I've been doing a whole week of AEW shows all at once on a Tuesday, the day before Dynamite, so people could get caught up if they possibly missed any of these episodes. I know I will have one special guest listener, at least for later on, when I do the Forbidden Door review. Vlad, the wrestling expert, has said he didn't want to watch Forbidden Door this year, and he's only going to watch my review to get caught up on it. So I have to do enough to fill him in, as well as give my thoughts about these shows. But yeah, I'm going all the way back to this past Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. AEW Dynamite. Yeah, I know it's going to be a marathon show today. I had meant to start earlier, but I think I can squeeze this in 2.5 hours, I'm guessing. So let's get on the road with it. Let's start the show. We're in Ireland today. Sorry, not Ireland. Scotland. My bad. WWE was in Ireland from one of their shows this past week. But okay, so it's a big week. It's Forbidden Door week. Forbidden Door is on the coming Sunday, which was a couple nights ago. I will be reviewing that later on in the live stream. But let's get on with what happened here. I haven't seen a lot of this. I just kind of clipped out some promos of people talking. I'm going to try to listen to all the promos. If anyone's new to the show, I review every segment at the end of the segment. And then I give out bonus points for anything that I see fit. I'm trying to get a good score for Dynamite here. The go home for Forbidden Door, I'm going to set a modest plus minus for a 2-hour show at 25 points. Let's see if they could get anyone who was thinking about buying this pay-per-view to actually buy it. But here's Bryan Danielson. All right, he's retired, but I guess he's here on some kind of guest basis. I'm not sure yet, but he's always a treat for the crowd just to see him. There's a Scottish dude in the crowd, and Danielson was, I think, on commentary for most of the evening. But all right, here's our first actual guy of the evening for a storyline. It's Will Ospreay. He's basking in the glory, taking it all in. It's his home, I guess, country. I don't know if I think he's English, but still, they're in Great Britain. He's British. Okay, so he's going to talk. Let's listen to Will Ospreay.
Thanks for that. It's been one of the worst months of my life, and I can depend on you guys cheering me up. I can always count on Glasgow. I remember the first time I ever came here, I was doing an indie. And it's one of those ones, you fly into Glasgow airport, the promoter didn't want to put me in a hotel, so he put me straight to the venue. Classic Scotland promotion. Got there at 10 AM, show doesn't start till 7 PM, the show actually ends at 10 PM. All these wrestlers want to go out to the bar, I think. Let's show them how it's done, all right? I'll go out with you, I'll see you. And I have to give you a spoiler alert, we murder the Yanks when it comes to drinking. But as we pull up in this taxi, I'm starving, I'm hungry, I can't even see straight, I'm blinded. But in the distance, in Glasgow town centre, I can see blue lights. And I open my eyes. Closes late, Greg's sausage rolls.
Can't confirm a Greg's sausage roll is something special.
I knew this was going to happen as soon as I said Greg's. None of that vegan crap either. Get out of here. Tell you. Listen, I hate letting you guys down. And it's because we've known each other for like such a young age. I've known all of you guys. I've grown up in front of you guys. And I'm so grateful for every bit of support that you guys have ever given me. Thank you. You're not just people, you're my people. Last week.
Well, Will Ospreay taking all that time to put over getting drunk and tossed, doing it better than Americans, and eating sausage grits in Scotland. So, all right, well, very nice baby face stuff here. Still no points from me yet on this show. 7 minutes in.
I got given the worst news, and it's going to change my life forever. And it's all because of what John and the Death Riders did to me. When I was young, man, I felt invincible. I would just bounce back. I was a flipping rubber ball. I was made out of rubber. I could do nothing wrong. I wasn't even human. Taka Michinoku once upon a time said, he's an alien. First time in my life I feel human. Thanks, buddy. I'll be honest with you all, I am scared. I am terrified because I know I'm going to be walking down a road that other wrestlers have gone down before, and they haven't come back the same.
Well, I like how they emphasize that he's scared of getting older and injured like most wrestlers. Well, yes, then don't do this style anymore. Is it really that important to fuck yourself up? Nobody cares if you're flipping around. Honestly, you could work a lighter style and still get over.
Here's the truth for you all, and you're going to spin it and you're going to turn it into whatever you guys want to do. Last week I didn't get cleared for Forbidden Door. They told me I can't wrestle in my hometown. 30 minutes from my door, they said I can't wrestle. I said, stop that and take it into my own hands. Lights out, steel cage. No one knows what that means. Unsanctioned. Everything that happened Sunday, it's none of AEW's fault. This is all on me. And I know what everyone's thinking. We don't want you to die.
Please don't die.
I'm aware of the risks. I am comfortable taking these risks because...
This is so ridiculous, by the way. What is going on? This is too much weird sympathy for me. I'm feeling weird about it because it's obviously fake, but you know, trying to grab sympathy like this from the people, I'll save my thoughts for the end of the segment.
This place means so much to me. I'm here to prove a point that this generation is going to look after these three letters, that I'm going to be the standard for this place. And what I'm going to do is, if it involves it, if there's even a small chance that I can't be Will Ospreay after Sunday, then you better believe on Sunday I'm leaving everything in this ring. And the main reason I'm doing this is because I want revenge, bruv. I will enter that steel cage with 4 good friends of mine, Tanahashi, Kenny Omega, Ibushi, and Darby Allin, and we will tear the Death Riders apart.
Ibushi's down for whatever.
This is for me. This is for me. Before they take a scalpel to me, I will take a pound of flesh from John Moxley.
You are here tonight solely as an analyst, as a color commentator.
Alright, Death Riders music hits, so let's skip forward. Death Riders are going to come in from somewhere in the parking lot, I think. They show their car. Here's Marina and Moxley coming in through the crowd, and they're going to confront Will Ospreay, as it seems, for this big cage, lights out, no rules match that's not sanctioned by any wrestling committee. But Will Ospreay's going to go through with it anyways because this is very important for revenge. Look at him staring down Jon Moxley. Attack him right there if you don't like the guy. But all right, let's play something from Moxley and Ospreay in the ring.
Whoa, John. Ace of AEW, what, you need slaphead and a geezer that needs an haircut to fight your battles? This Sunday, I am coming for you. So if you want to get rid of me, don't let your boys do it. Do it yourself.
Moxley's like, that hurts. All right, so that's it. That's the end of the talking. He calls Claudio into the ring. And here comes Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight also. So they're going to defend Will Ospreay here from the Death Riders, who is not currently cleared. And here comes Tanahashi. So Tanahashi's also here. And this is going to lead straight into a match starting between the Death Riders against Tanahashi and Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight. So that's our opening match. It just kind of flowed right into it, I guess you could say. But all right, I want to review the opening segment as a whole. I got to say something about Will Ospreay's promo. I guess I got to give that a rating. I'll give it a half thumbs up. I'll say it was all right. I do find it weird of them trying to do this though, and him just coming out to work on Sunday. Like it's just kind of, it makes people, when people actually give sympathy and then they find out it's a work, it's not good. I wouldn't say, especially for something like this. But I'll still give it something just because Ospreay went out there and performed and got the people on his side. Other than that, the whole segment was basically Moxley coming out and confronting Will Ospreay, that is, and they just kind of mouthed some words together. Ospreay looked at him all pissed off, and that was it. Moxley said, "Fuck it." I don't know. I think Moxley could have done with saying something there, saying something a little, get back at him, talk back to him. I think this was a missed chance to make something a little more intense leading up to this match at Forbidden Door, the main event it will be. But all right, let's go to the trios match. So Death Riders, they're here. They're facing Mike Bailey and Tanahashi. So let's get to some interference. Here's Danielson on commentary, by the way. Interference spot, we got Marina Shafir with the ref not looking. Actually, the ref was looking, and he ejects Marina Shafir out of this match because she just nailed Kevin Knight right in front of him. Moxley ejects the ref. But let's see, here's Will Ospreay coming from behind on Marina Shafir while she's going back to the to the back getting ejected.
Deliver the drop kick. Look at this.
Yeah, she wasn't expecting that. Not even thinking about it. But let's see, here's a spot from Mike Bailey. I'll give that a half a point, as Will Ospreay drags Marina to the back, which is probably leaving the rest of the Death Riders distraught. But enter Gabe Kidd and the Bullet Club War Dogs, which I guess are his allies in New Japan. So they're going to run in to help the Death Riders as they are aligned with the Death Riders. He pulls Tanahashi. Here's the guys. I don't know their names. I didn't make note of it. I don't watch New Japan, so I don't know who they are. But yeah, they pull Tanahashi off the top rope, and here they are. There's a good look at them. Here comes Will Ospreay with someone in a body bag. So they presume it's Marina, and that Ospreay's gonna throw her off the entrance ramp, right? So he leaves her there, which in the ring the action continues. Speedball, Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight, they never stop. And then here's the finish: Tanahashi with a frog splash on Wheeler Yuta. So man, Tanahashi, he's looking older. But all right, we got to go to the afterbirth. The match itself, I'll give it a half thumbs up. At least they continue the storyline of what's going on here. I thought that might be it for the night. I was going to be disappointed if that's all we saw of Will Ospreay. But here he is. He's got a body bag. And we presume it's Marina Shafir in that bag. But Moxley sure isn't like that, you know, rushing over there to save her. Eventually, he does walk all the way around the ring, and Moxley and Claudio are jaw-jacking instead of running over there, which is weird. I don't know. This whole thing is awful, I would say. This whole thing, I don't know why they didn't run over there immediately and try to save Marina. But anyways, the Young Bucks come in from behind and super kick Will Ospreay. So Will Ospreay does take a bump. So the Young Bucks are there, the Death Riders ally, but then enter Paragon. And I'm like, what the fuck does Paragon have to do with this? Nothing. So I'm taking a point off there. This is not the time for Paragon. Eventually, I find out that they facing the Young Bucks in Collision. That's why. So that was weird. They fight off, and there go the Young Bucks. All right, so finally the Death Riders come in to free Marina as she's suffocating in there. And despite this whole thing being stupid, I'm going to give that a point for that being Darby Allin, because I did not expect that. So enter Will Ospreay again into the foray, into the fight, and he's fighting Jon Moxley, Darby Allin, and Claudio. Then enter the Ops. So man, this is just overbooked mess. I don't know. Still, I don't know why Paragon came in. The Ops, they got their own thing going on. They're not really in this. They're not in this match or anything. They just don't like the Death Riders. So they come out to even the odds. And this moves to the crowd. So this is a big battle to open Dynamite here in Scotland. Moxley and Samoa Joe. I guess, this is an attraction. There's a lot of shit going on. Darby Allin with the coffin drop from the crowd. And that's about it. I think that's the segment. So Death Riders are sent running, but they had a wild battle to open the show after the match. So for this afterbirth, I will call it, after the match happened, after the six-man tag and everything, I will say, I don't know. The whole thing with Marina being, tied up and the Young Bucks, I want to say I liked it, but in the end, I guess I can give it half a point. I'll give it an Orange Cassidy just because it was exciting in a way. The crowd was into it. But I had a lot of problems with it. It was just too mishmash. And I think they could have done more with that, to be honest. That's my feeling on it. But I got to move on with my Dynamite review. I got to get through a lot of shows here. I got a couple hours. And I think I could get through it all. But let's see. So here's a video package. They review everything that happened with Hangman and MJF. MJF cashing in his contract as Hangman, got to him. He got to the devil. Eventually, he got frustrated enough where Hangman convinced him to overcome his fears. Tell the devil to overcome his fears. But all right, that will come into play later. First, we got Edge and Christian segment in the ring. Tony Schiavone's here, and he's going to interview Edge and Christian, I would presume. Yeah, here comes Edge, here comes Christian. So let's check this out. This is the first time they've been on camera together since the reunion. As we know, Edge and Christian reunited the week before on Dynamite, and it was a weird segment, I thought. I think a lot of people thought, as Christian, who never really turned face, did run out to help Edge, who was getting attacked by FTR, and then, the old patriarchy that is feuding with Christian also got involved. They ended up getting speared by Edge, and that led to their reunion. But it was weird afterwards because Christian was didn't really seem like he wanted to be friends with them. That he's just been a heel for so long. He's just it's like, hugging the lion at this point. He's like, he's been a murderous, terrible person. You can't just bring him back like Darth Vader in Return of the Jedi. But regardless, here we are today, Edge and Christian back together. Let's see how they handle this interview.
Quite a moment, gentlemen. May I be the first to say, it has been a long time to see you two together. It's very special. You can hear from the fans.
First things first, Glasgow, sit down and shut your mouths while I conduct. What are you doing, man? You're still going to be that guy? Come on, these people love us. We are inarguably one of the greatest tag teams of all time. But I get it. He is what he is, and let's face it, folks, he's an asshole. Okay, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that I've learned over the years in this industry. Sometimes you need an asshole. And it just so happens that he's my asshole.
He's my asshole.
Adam had asked you at All In to go find yourself. The question is, have you?
You're right, Tony. At All In Texas, Adam picked me up by the hand and he said, go find yourself. Well, I took some time and I did just that. I took some time, I went away, I looked within myself, I looked deep within my soul, and I did find myself. And guess what I found? I don't need to change a thing. I am perfect just the way I am.
Nice. I like that. Confidence.
Now, people might be wondering if Adam and I are on the same page, and I can assure you, we are not by a long shot. There's been a lot of things said, there's been a lot of things done, there's a lot of scar tissue here. But I will say this, we're not on the same page, but at this point, we're at least writing in the same book. Now, I know people were hoping for some happy, bubbly reunion of one of, if not the greatest tag team of all time. But this is not a happy reunion. This is a reunion out of necessity. Because you see, Adam has agreed to help me with my Nick and Kip problem, and in turn, I have agreed to help him with his FTR problem. And beyond that, Adam, I'm going to look you in your face right now and tell you I can't commit to anything beyond that. But you have my word on this, and I know over the last couple of years, my word hasn't meant much to you. But I will stand here before you in front of all these people in Scotland. I will stick my hand out. I will shake your hands. I will look you straight in your eyes and say that this version of Christian Cage, the version that found himself some 3 years ago, will be the best tag team partner you've ever had.
Interesting.
Well. Isn't this cute?
So they shake hands and Edge accepts Christian the way he is. Interesting stuff. I gave out a lot of bonus points. I think it was nice to see their old chemistry back together. putting them back together, it was just like, it just went so easy. So yeah, I like this. I gotta say.
Christian, what have you become?
This is Kip Sabian, by the way.
Pandering for the attention and the love of the people who you despised. Do you know what you are, Christian? Pathetic.
Who are you people to boo us? Who are you to boo a mother? And not just any mother. I'm the mother to the prodigy, Nick Wayne.
Christian, Cope. Sorry to interrupt this cute little reunion between two guys who claim that they're legends when they're both simply just hanging on to their careers by threads. We'll get to that another time. For now, let's address last Wednesday. Christian, you hit the ring to save an old friend of yours in Cope. And just like I said I'd always be, I wasn't too far behind. It just so happened to be that you hit the ring with that spike thing, swinging it at me, attempting to take my life from me. You may have not gotten what you wanted in trying to take my head off, but you did get something that's just gonna save your ass for the time being. And that was that you broke my foot. You put me on the shelf for weeks. You took Forbidden Door away from me. But believe me when I tell you this. If I would have showed up to Forbidden Door this Sunday, I would have turned what's supposed to be a very special reunion into a very quick farewell tour for Cope and Christian. I would have embarrassed you in front of the entire world. I would have taken your entire career away from you. So it's a blessing in disguise that I'm not going to be there on Sunday. Or is it? Christian Cage, I am always one step ahead.
Nick Wayne mean by that?
All right, so that's the end of the talking in this segment. But for Nick Wayne's promo, I didn't think it was too bad. I don't want to give it a too high a rating. It was a little contrived sounding, and or am I, or is it? But okay, I'll give it a half thumbs up. I don't know how he got injured. I missed it, but they're using it in the storyline regardless, and he is still very intense about this, I would say. So I did like that aspect, that this does mean something to him. So they tried there. They tried. But yes, he has something. They have a video package ready on the Titantron. There's no words on it, so I'm not going to play anything here because this is like mostly an audio podcast. But it's Luchasaurus. You can see his mask. He's in some weird dungy medical room that's like, just handmade at home or something. And he doesn't go to the hospital, I guess. But he has recovered, and he is back. And he confronts Edge and Christian, interestingly enough. And Kip tries to take advantage from behind, but Christian notices it, and Christian confronts Killswitch, so his old guy. And as Killswitch turns around, he goozles Christian, grabs him by the throat, and choke slams him. So alright, so they try to bring about the return of Killswitch like it's some big deal that's going to turn the tide for this stable, whatever it's called. But right now there's no Nick Wayne. It's just Kip Sabian and Luchasaurus and Mama Wayne. But they do leave Edge and Christian laying on this go-home show before Forbidden Door. I will say I really liked this stuff while it was just Edge and Christian, and then everyone came in, and I will say for the whole segment overall, I'll still give it a thumbs up. I'll say I liked it. But I gotta move on. Let's see what we got next. We got Mark Briscoe. Let's see what he's yelling about. Is he still yelling about MJF, I wonder?
Wait, yo, MJF! I done had enough, man. I done flew across the damn ocean. Tonight, I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna kill you, son.
He's still on one about MJF. This is interesting. Yeah, he had that match and he got screwed over. His foot was on the rope, so to him, it's not over. All right, fine. I'm fine with that. Let's see what happens. I don't remember anything happening with that, but I guess we'll see later on. Moving on, backstage we got Ricochet hanging out with Gates of Agony, his henchman.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you are looking at right now is the hottest group in all of professional wrestling.
Ricochet!
Look, as I'm sure you know by now, I don't like it. Bald people freak me out, and frankly, the idea of me being bald actually gives me agita. Hold on. I'm here to conduct business. Now look, as the old saying goes, the enemy of my enemy is my friend, and right now, currently, our enemy is looking for moi. So what would happen, pray tell, if all of us found him first? So what do you say? Want to be my friend?
You know, Max, normally I love to see you run around here stressed to the max like a chicken with your head cut off. However, Mark Briscoe, he irks me. And I think we owe him a little something. So you got yourself a deal.
That's what I'm talking about. Now it's time to plan and... Hey, get this camera out of here, man. Get out of here.
Well, Ricochet and MJF coming to...
Interesting. They came to a pretty easy agreement there. It went smoothly. Ricochet's all about it. MJF is his type of guy, so he's passed off Mark Briscoe to Ricochet, okay? Interesting storyline plot there, and more planning to come. So I will spoil it that they do things that are major in Forbidden Door. This stable does, I guess, at the behest of MJF. So overall, I'll give this backstage thing a thumbs up. I think this was an interesting segment. It's probably an important segment. If I were to really do a concise summary of major events at Forbidden Door, I would put this segment in it. But all right, next up we got the final of that Tag Team Eliminator Tournament to get a title shot at Forbidden Door against the Hurt Syndicate. It's FTR and it's Brodito. So I'm going to play a few highlights, but overall this is doesn't have a conclusive ending, as you will see, and it is the final of a tournament, so that is funky, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. MVP and the Hurt Syndicate, they look on a monitor backstage for a while. Eventually they get bored and leave, but I will say this spot was interesting because I don't know why Dax threw the chair in the ring right in that direction at the referee, but he caught it and the ref threw it away. I think that spot made no logical sense to me whatsoever. I gotta say, it was a spot, it was an interesting spot, but it didn't need to happen. Here's an interference spot. Stokely gets involved. Brodito, or Brody King, goes through the ropes thanks to him as he pulls the ropes down. There he is. He still has Bandito's mask, which he stole on Collision. I guess that was in advance of this match, that they were feuding with this match. Dax Harwood is going to cut a promo during the match. Shall we listen to Dax Harwood? Why not? Let's see what he says.
Excuse me, this is Big Stoke. You respect him.
Well, Brody King.
Hey kid,
bloody
where's your mom?
As
Where's
this
your mom?
match continues,
Oh,
don't
good, she doesn't know
go
who you are either.
anywhere.
Oh my god. All right. Well, there you go. Brodito, Brody King of Brodito gets color here. And here they are pounding him. Here's Bandito looking very worried, as you could see. There's a spot from Bandito going over the top rope and gets caught by FTR. I think I like that. That one I'll give a half point to. Get our score up to 9.5 so far for Dynamite. Dax here douses Bandito with some water, and then douses like a fan too, which is weird. And I was thinking at this point, this could be Stokely's night to get him over because he needs something big like this, but it didn't happen. Here's a spot from Brody King, Cannonball Senton, off the ring apron. Always interesting catching a guy like that. Another good spot from Bandito here, going over the top rope dive. Picture perfect, nice. Bandito is a major attraction for AEW and Ring of Honor at this point. Here is some more interference. Stokely grabs the boot, and Bandito gets his mask back from Stokely, and he actually puts his mask back on. I don't know, they had no emphasis on why one mask would be better than the other or anything. This is where the Hurt Syndicate leave. They're not impressed. It's a long match, really long match. Actually, it ends up going to a time limit draw. I'll just spoil that for you, but there's another moonsault by Bandito. Dax here counters Bandito's finisher, which was an interesting spot because I've never seen anyone counter it like that. But this is a false finish. And then they announced 30 seconds left. They all just keep fighting as time expires. Bandito even, or Dax Cash Wheeler goes through the middle ropes. Like, oh shit, what the fuck? Why did he do that? Why did he take that bump with 30 seconds left? It was still a wild spot, but no chance to win at that point. I forgot about that freaking bump. And that's it. So everyone's wondering what the hell's going to happen. It's a tournament final. The match is over. I'll give the match, I'll give it a thumbs up just because it was a good match, I will say. I think it's weird that it had a time limit, though, and it's a final of a tournament. But post-match, Bandito, he keeps going. He doesn't realize the match is over. The ref is waving it off. He hits his finisher on Cash, or Dax, and that's not a victory. So the ring announcer, Arkane Ora, I think her name is, and she gets a message like Tony Schiavone does through her headset that since it's a draw, it'll be a three-way now for the World Tag Titles at Forbidden Door, and Stokely is disappointed because that's a tough decision. I don't think I like that decision. What if there was a draw earlier in the tournament? Would both teams have advanced? I don't know. I kind of wanted to see FTR versus the Hurt Syndicate, so I'm gonna give a thumbs down for that decision from Tony Khan. But regardless, it is what it is. We will see that three-way later on. I gotta skip forward. There's a video package that I'm not gonna play, but it has to do with Swerve and Okada, who are headed towards a Continental title match, also an international title match for both titles, I guess you could say. And Hangman Page is here. He's entering the ring to cut a promo. This is the next segment, so we got to listen to Hangman Page. He's the world champion.
Last week, I was jumped from behind in the parking lot by Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Jumped from behind because that is how MJF likes to handle things. Underhanded, backstabbing, opportunistic. If Max has ever had a problem in his life, he can't look it head on because he does not have the balls to do it. And that's why I know it is a waste of time. It is a waste of my time. It is a waste of your time to call him out to this ring right now because I know he won't come down here and get the piss beat out of him a few nights early because he is an insecure and gutless coward. But Max, I need you to know that once you sign that Casino Gauntlet contract and you stand across from me in the ring at Forbidden Door, there will be nothing underhanded. There will be no backstabbing. And there will be only one opportunity for you for the World Championship. And I swear to God, Max, I am going to shove my size 12 ostrich leathers straight up your checkered print ass.
Well, does the challenger have the courage?
So MJF's music is playing, but no MJF.
Hangman, I'm sorry. I'm getting word that we have a message for you. MJF has one of our cameras backstage, I understand. He does want to speak to you, but apparently if you leave the ring before he finishes, okay, something bad, according to MJF, something very bad is going to happen. I'm sorry, but he's got a camera. You've got to stay in the ring. I'm very sorry. Yeah. Okay, he's got the camera, guys. What's going on now?
Hey, man. Hey, Seabiscuit. Up here. Hey, bud. Hey, do you remember when I told you you're at your most vulnerable when you're angry? Well, say hello to your vulnerability. Hey, man, here's the deal. Okay, buddy? You're gonna give me what I want. But I'm not greedy, man. I just had 3 requests for Forbidden Door. 3 simple requests, and then your friend here is gonna be safe and sound. However, if you don't say yes to my 3 requests, am I home, Miss Bud? Well, then, unfortunately,
Oh, you bastard! You bastard!
he's gonna be Kentucky Fried. Woo! Pungent! So here are the 3 demands. Number 1, the title can change hands via disqualification. Number 2, the title can change hands via countout. And number 3, which I didn't originally have planned, but good on you. You tricked me last week. Congrats, you outsmarted me for all of 5 seconds. Number 3 is, I do not have to use my contract in order to get my match at Forbidden Door. So what's it gonna be, Hangman? Because about right now, I'm gonna ask for a lighter, and we're gonna find out if the people like it when MJF lights things on fire as much as they do when their hero Hangman does. And you, my friend, have until the count of 5. Come on, learn from this from me, buddy. Thank you. 1.
Put it down! Put it down!
2.
Max, put it down!
3.
Put it down!
4.
5! 5! 5! You got it! 5!
Oh, that's what I thought.
Wow.
See you at Forbidden Door, Hangman. Congratulations. You're still a hero.
Well, MJF weaseling his way out of having to execute that contract, and Hangman Adam Page in pursuit of MJF.
Well, that's the end of that, and Hangman is pissed, and he runs backstage, and presumably he's going to try to find them, and he's got a steel chair. So, wow, okay, I will say that turned it around for MJF pretty quickly. He doesn't have to cash in his contract, so that's not the end if he loses. Interesting. Plus, some stipulations. I gave that segment 2 thumbs up. The stipulations are interesting. If he can egg him on to get disqualified, he could egg Hangman on somehow and get him disqualified, he'll win the title. And if he's a count out, he'll win the title. All right, well, that's a lot of advantages for MJF. We'll see what comes of it later on. I think it was an exciting match. It was a really solid match, I will say, but we will get to that review in a little bit. But very next segment, Hangman Page is looking backstage for Ricochet, and he finds him, and he just nails him with the steel chair. I don't know why Ricochet was so nonchalant waiting there, with his back turned. I would have been like hiding or head for the hills, left the building. already or something. But here's Hangman Page pinning Ricochet to the wall and screaming in his face. Oh my god, freaking Ricochet. I gotta say, I love this segment. I love this shit. This was not bad. Anyways, the security comes in and pulls him away, and that's that. Freaking Ricochet. And he actually nails one of the security guards in the face, so Hangman Page is not fucking around, I guess. Gates of Agony show up. A little too late, though. They're just pissed off about it. And they were not there in time to help Ricochet. But Ricochet survived, though. But that was a low-down, dirty thing to do. Ricochet and the Gates of Agony to want to burn Mark Briscoe and light him on fire. They should have left the building. They should have ran away as far as they could as soon as it happened. Instead, I don't know why they were just hanging out back there like idiots, basically. But all right, we got to go to the next match. It's Mercedes Moné, and Persephone is there in the crowd. She's in that TBS title 4-way. And here comes Billy Starks. She sends her minion away. Billy Starks came out with Athena, but Athena sends her away. So she's teaming up with Mercedes Moné today. Athena is a little bit of an ego clash. They both think they're alpha doms, I guess, and they're facing off against Alex Windsor and Toni Storm, who comes out with Mina Shirakawa, but Mina goes to the back as well. All right, some highlights from this match. Interesting matchup, strong matchup, I would say, as a main event for this show, for this Dynamite show. But here's a spot I really liked with Toni Storm and Mercedes, who are back together again after they've had their feud. And yes, the smelling thing. For some reason, this really turned on Mercedes today. Like, Mercedes just couldn't deal with it. She backed off, and she had to go to the corner, and she freaks out, basically, and gets tagged out, because I guess it was just too much for her to handle. She can't even breathe. So, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck with that, but I'm willing to give 3 points to it, is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, moving on. Very nice callback from Tony Khan. Very nice callback. Forbidden Door preview here. We get Athena and Toni Storm doing some wrestling a little bit. Here is a spot. Mercedes again. Toni Storm grabs her by the chest area, I guess you could say. And Athena is scolding Mercedes like to stop fucking around and focus, because she is basically, I think, almost liking it here. But she does eventually focus in on the match, and woo, man, Athena really took a crazy hit there. I'm surprised she made it to that match at Forbidden Door, because her face slammed into that freaking announce desk with that through the middle rope dive. I will give that a thumbs up, although just I don't really understand why they're taking all these crazy risks. But there is Toni Storm knocking Mercedes off the ledge, off the apron. So Mercedes is going to get into this and fight Toni Storm at some point. I thought they might want to run some type of angle where they might fall in love or something, but no, not today. Here's Toni Storm getting pile driven by Athena into the steel steps. Got to give that a point. That looked good. Should be the end of the match, though, when something like that happens. I think actually it was. That's the end of Toni Storm in this. And Windsor shows heart, tries her best, but in the end she gets O-faced by Athena, and the heels win the match on this night. So, nice match, nice match. I will give that match a thumbs up. I will say I like the match. I enjoyed it. +1. Post-match, Persephone is there to face-to-face with Mercedes. Mercedes actually pie faces her with the belt, and she is shocked when Persephone pushes her back. So I like that afterbirth. I like that post-match, between these two. I think that set something up for them for Forbidden Door. And also, Athena, here she is, staring down Toni Storm. And that's how they end the show today. And Windsor is there. She also stares down Persephone. And so we get a preview of the TBS title and world title matches at the same time. For the women, as Alex Windsor helps Toni Storm to the back. At least she sold the pile driver. At least she sold the pile driver. But all right, I hit 25.5 points on my Dynamite review. Right where I want it to be. That's not bad. It wasn't a bad go home. I think it could have been better. But I will say I rather enjoyed it. I'm going to move on, though. I got to get to Ring of Honor real quick. Let's just gloss over the results. I know we got a lot to get to today. I've reset the score back to 0, and we are here at Ring of Honor. So this is from this past Thursday, August 21st. Sometimes I don't know why I do this to myself, to be honest. It's torture, honestly, but I guess I'm just deathly afraid that something's going to happen on the show and I'm going to like not understand what's going on because there was something on Ring of Honor maybe that I missed, and you know, some random person's going to come up, and I guess that happens all the time in AEW, so I should just roll with it. At this point in wrestling, you're just, I think, going to have to accept that you're going to be missing some of the plot points because you can't watch everything. Like in WWE, you can't watch like AAA and NXT and Evolve if you have a life. So you're just going to have to accept that some things are going to be missing. But regardless, I'm going to run through the results just so we know what happened on this Ring of Honor and we won't feel like we missed out. But the opening match, this is Los Depredadores from CMLL. They're having a 6-man World Tag Team title match here on Ring of Honor. So Ruido, Volador Jr., and Magnus, and they're facing El Sky Team, who has Místico, Máscara Dorada, and Neon. So nice looking team, the Sky Team. They are defending their titles here. I'm just going to give some high spots, I guess. Neon going over the top rope. I'll give that a half a point for wowing the crowd here. And got to give this Ring of Honor review something. Interesting attempt from Místico there. I don't know. I didn't think that really seemed realistic or landed, but I thought it was an interesting attempt at a move. The finish is La Mística, the finish. And El Sky Team retains. So that's that. All right. I'm moving on, though. Nothing for the match for me. I don't care about CMLL being on this show. Next match, Beef. Beef is here. They did show a replay of him returning last week and facing off with Lee Johnson and Blake Christian. Took a loss, but here he is now. He used to have a storyline that he was Anthony Henry's like cousin or something. They kind of just forgot about that and let it go. Today he's facing Blake Christian alone. Lee Johnson is with him, but there was some interference, the old Alicia Edwards interference that does nothing. But okay, and the Beef sells it. I guess he got choked on the ring ropes a little bit later on. More interference. Lee Johnson again gets on the ring apron, and a lot of cheating they have to do to beat Beef, really. But I do got to give a half point for this Blake Christian move that I see on occasion. Since he does it on every show, I'm only going to give it a half point. If he saved it for more rarer occasions, I might give it more. But in the end, yes, Blake Christian taps out Beef, and that's that. For the match itself, I don't even think I want to give a half point. I think I'll give nothing because I just don't think it should be so hard for Blake Christian to beat Beef. He should probably be higher up on the card than he is, I would say. Afterbirth, they attack Beef for no reason. Blake Christian goes out of the ring and they give him a Spicoli driver for good measure. So Beef was already leaving and Blake Christian dived out of the ring to hit him, and they just I don't know what the hell that was about. Unless Beef is gonna get some kind of receipt and get a friend to help him fight these guys, I would say that was good. Otherwise, I don't think it's going to be good, so I'll take off a point. The whole point I gave them so far, I'm taking it off because I think Beef is just going to take that, and he's just going to be like a little weenie about it, basically. I'll be surprised if he does something about it. Let's see. But they do show a replay of last week with QT Marshall and Paul Walter Hauser and all that. And I do pride myself here on playing every promo from wrestling, I would say, on American television and actually analyzing it. But QT Marshall, I'm going to skip his promo today. I'm sorry. I mean, it's going to be at least a benefit for him that I don't watch it, so I don't give it a thumbs down. I'll give it an indifferent just because I really don't care about Paul Walter Hauser. And he's not a level of celebrity that they need to sell out the show to, you know, to use him, I guess. I'm against this. I think this has been really phony and awful. And QT Marshall in general is pretty goddamn phony and awful when he's cutting promos for these shows. And I know he gets a lot of respect in the business. He can go out there and he can do what he's supposed to do. I guess he can memorize lines, recite them, wrestle, do the moves. But he is, I don't know how to explain it. Like, he does all these moves. He does them well. He does them perfectly fine. But he's probably the fakest wrestler I've ever seen. Like, I never took anything he's ever done seriously. And that's an issue. And it can't be teaching wrestling when you're not a good wrestler yourself. So this is a major, yeah, I know it's a major insult. If he ever saw this, I'm sure he'd be mad, you know, or whatever, and be offended. But there are things he can work on. I don't think he should be a teacher. I think he needs to be teached, really. He should go to a wrestling school, maybe WWE or something. I know people over there aren't the best at cutting promos either, but maybe he could get some advice about making this shit seem less phony. So, and all that time I probably could have listened to his promo, but moving on. LFI, so the commentators were trying to talk about how this match has some history because AR Fox has had beef with the Beast Mortos and everybody there, but today he's facing off against the Beast Mortos. It's a decent booking, I would say. I think this is a nice match for this card. I'll go through some things that happened on it. Interference right off the bat. Dralistico trying to distract, and they're off to a nice hot start here. Obviously, there's going to be some spots here if you're including AR Fox in this match. Nice over-the-top rope dive. I like that. Picture perfect AR Fox. Doing God's work, as they say. As Wrestle Tati would say on her Ring of Honor reviews. Again here, over-the-top rope dive. I'll give a point to AR Fox. Putting in some solid work here. That's another one. I'll give a halvesy to that one. And more interference later. Again, Dralistico on the ring apron. And I guess that was the distraction that led to the turnaround. Not very well done, I would say. But yeah, Beast Mortos puts him in his finisher. The finisher I do like. This finisher is a nice move. I'll give a half point just for the finisher. But overall, I think the match could have been worked a little better. I'm not going to give any points to the match itself. Afterbirth. Afterbirth is... they're going to, I guess, whip AR Fox with a rope, it looks like. A green elastic rope, and stand over him and choke him out. So I don't know. That's too much heat for a Ring of Honor show for me. I think doing something like this, and it seems so meaningless, I gotta be indifferent about it, I would say. I won't say thumbs down for beating someone's ass after a match. Why not just do it? But alright, I'm moving on. Last week, we had Adam Priest and the Workhorsemen. They beat up some jobbers, and they had to replay it because they're trying to push this team, I guess, on Ring of Honor. Here they are now. And they get promo time, actually. They get to cut promo on the show. JD Drake does, interestingly. So let's listen to them. They are heels now.
You hush. So, we were scheduled to have a trios match tonight. I don't know how they do math in Texas, but there's 3 of us and only 2 Von Erichs. They used to have a partner, but, you know, Dustin's kind of on the mend at the moment. So, why don't you boys do us a favor? Walk out here, go ahead and forfeit the match. That way we don't have to beat the hell out of you and put you on the shelf with Dustin too. That's right.
Wow. Well,
All right, so they're upset that they don't know who the third partner is. That Marshall and Ross Von Erich are here, and they got 3 guys, and the other guy's got 2 guys. How can you prepare for something like this? But I think they should have probably known that Sammy Guevara would be the obvious choice here. But regardless, the Von Erichs come out. Here they are, Marshall and Ross Von Erich. I'm gonna play Ross Von Erich talking just because I've literally never heard him talk before.
Yeah, I know it might look like we're outnumbered, but we're not alone, baby. We got a fellow son of Texas right here, ready to go right now.
What?
Dustin's gone. He's been hurt for a while. We all know that. But who wants to see? Think we all know who it is.
Huh. The crowd's got an idea.
Sammy Guevara.
All right, so yeah, it is Sammy Guevara. All right, for that whole pre-match segment, I guess, for finding a partner for the Sons of Texas, which is turned out to be a member of the Sons of Texas, I will give that a thumbs down. I think that was an awful idea for a pre-match promo. They should have just booked this match the way it turned out. But yeah, Ross Von Erich, he talks well enough. He had nothing to say, unfortunately. They gave him terrible material. But all right, moving on to the match. The match itself, let's see. Here's a start, Code of Honor, adhered to, but leads straight into a headlock. I don't know if that's actually a Code of Honor. I'm not sure. I got a spot here from Sammy Guevara. No points though. Kind of just seemed like JD Drake was there waiting to catch him. And then the finish, it's the claw, which is a move I don't really like, and it leads to a pinfall. And Adam Priest takes the pin. It's a win for the Sons of Texas, the baby faces, if you will. No points for me in this match. This is the next match on the show. It's Trish Adora of the Shane Taylor Promotions. She is here accompanied by the Infantry, and she's facing a indie wrestler, it seems, Janai Kai. Interesting. She didn't totally squash her. She gave her a little bit. Wasn't totally one-sided, but I got a lot to get to today, so I'm just going to show the finisher, and that's it. This is a win for Trish Adora. I don't know what that does for her, if that gives her anything, but okay. I don't think they have anything ready to showcase for her, it seems. This is just what it is. Once in a while they can give her a win over a jobber. For this one, I'll give it a half a point. I thought it was interesting seeing the independent wrestler. But I'm moving on. Backstage, we got Sammy Guevara and the Sons of Texas.
Oh yeah, Sammy. Yeah. Thank you, man. Thank you guys.
Good fun, man.
That was a hell of a match.
Man, Dustin's what brought us together. We all know that. But we formed a brotherhood. I feel it. I feel it 100%. And you got this pay-per-view coming up.
Death Before Dishonor.
That's right. And we got a spot to fill. And we've been talking as brothers, and we wouldn't want anyone else to take that spot other than you, man.
Yeah, you know who we're picking, man. 10 out of 10.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you.
100%, brother.
And I also have a spot.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Got some choice to make too, man. We all do.
Yeah, I know. And listen, whoever you pick, my brother and I, it's been us versus the world our whole careers. For this, either of us, it doesn't matter, brother. We're there for you. We'll go to war with you, brother. We're doing it for Dustin.
Sons of Texas forever, baby. Let's go. Hell yeah.
Texas, baby.
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
All right, so interesting backstage segment for semantics' sake. I didn't find it too interesting, but the Sons of Texas, the Von Erichs, are willing to team with Sammy to cover for Dustin, even though they've never teamed with anyone else other than each other. So they're doing it for Dustin. And also they want Sammy to replace Dustin in their 6-man tag team title match that's coming up. So, all right, well, good to know, but I'm not giving out any points here. Moving on, we got the main event. It's Jay Lethal, and he's facing off against Hechicero. Don Callis is here to accompany Hechicero to the ring. And I'm not going to play his promo. I've been playing all the promos, but this one with him just being ridiculously over the top, introducing Hechicero, it's kind of funny. but I'm not in the mood to listen to Don Callis today. No code of honor today, as Hechicero's just not into it. Interference from Don Callis here, but Aubrey Edwards, the referee, actually catches it and throws him out. So Don Callis gets embarrassed and humiliated here on Ring of Honor. He even trips on his own feet on the way out, walking out, which is pretty hilarious. So if you were waiting for Don Callis to get some embarrassment and comeuppance, you had to watch Ring of Honor. Hechicero is upset about this. But regardless, the match carries on. My favorite Hechicero move, I don't know what it's called, but that leads to the finish, which is a submission here. And he makes Jay Lethal tap out, the former Ring of Honor World Champion. And Hechicero is the winner. And he talks trash to Jay Lethal and even talks trash to Bandito into the camera, says some things in Spanish as the show goes off the air. I'll give the match a half point. It did its job. Poor Jay Lethal. This is what it's come to for him. Jobbing out on Ring of Honor. You might as well just go on the indies, man, and work for someone who will let you look good at least. But hopefully this is a good paycheck for him. 4 points on my ROH review. It was skippable, but there were some things that I enjoyed. Regardless, let's move on to Collision. Alright, well, I've reset the score back to 0. We're being forced to watch Collision this week. I rather liked when they had pay-per-views that they didn't do Collision, but okay, this is I guess they got a contractual obligation here to fulfill some time on television on TNT. It's at the Hydro. However long it takes me to do this review is going to determine whether or not I actually do the Forbidden Door review right now or if I'm going to wait till after work. I don't know yet because it's 11:25. I got to be at work by 1, but we'll see. I don't know how many promos are going to be. I'll try to run through this as fast as I can. We'll see if there's anything significant that happens. But we start with an 8-man tag. What is it? Don Callis family, I guess? They're coming out. Don Callis is coming out to cut a promo. Thumbs down from this guy. Yeah, me too. I'll give a thumbs down too to start the show. Some way to start the show. Some way to start Collision with Don Callis. And he's going to cut a promo. Just as I did on Ring of Honor, I'm going to skip it because he introduces Hechicero in his weird way he does it. But the Don Callis family, there's more guys here. Josh Alexander, Rocky Romero, Lance Archer. All these guys get to fight on the Forbidden Door pay-per-view as well, or at least some of them do. But these guys are facing off against Takahashi and Skyflight. So, man, this is a very skippable Collision match, I will say. Thankfully, Takahashi gets the pin on Romero, and that's all I'll say about this match. I gotta move on. I got Forbidden Door to get to, so no points for me on this match. Post-match, Daniels encourages Takahashi because he's going to face Kyle Fletcher for that TNT title. And Kyle Fletcher does actually come out to the entrance ramp and talks smack to Takahashi. Takahashi's doing the thing with the belt. But nothing from me here. Nothing from me here. No points yet for Collision. Next, we had a video package for Hook. I'm not going to play it because last time I played it, it got clipped for copyright because of the song they use. Tell the girls that I'm back in town. But it was a stop motion thing with some toys here. I thought it looked kind of nice. I'll give it a half point for teasing Hook's return. But all right, we got a video package next. It previewed the Forbidden Door 4-way for the TBS title, which we're going to see in a little while. But I'm going to wait till we get to that to talk about that. Big debut here on Collision, interestingly, got a big pop. Isla Dawn from WWE. All right, I never thought they should have released her. Fire and Dawn, she was the star of Fire and Dawn. So 3 points for the debut of Isla Dawn. Okay, didn't think I'd get anything interesting on this review for Collision, but yes, the Isla Dawn is here. She's facing off against Megan Bayne. So Megan Bayne is here with Penelope, and this is a tough debut for Isla Dawn. She actually does good. She works it well. She works it well enough. She knows she's here up against a bigger, stronger opponent. She sells. She brings her WWE selling and professionalism to the table, does Isla Dawn. She puts up a fight. They respected her here. She didn't totally get squashed, but the finish though, it's a running Liger bomb from Megan Bayne. You didn't expect her to lose, but I don't know. It's just the idea of the booking is not a good idea to put someone. This always happens with Tony Khan. He brings someone in new, he puts them up against someone who's really good, and has them put up a good fight and lose. Like that's not how you get someone over. So I'm gonna say thumbs down for the booking, for booking this match at all. For the match itself, I will give a half a point to. I thought it was a decently worked match. But post-match, we got some business as Bayne walks up the entrance ramp. Her and Willow is coming in for her match, and they kind of have like a little thing where Willow walks by her without acknowledging her, and Bayne's like, "Oh, all right." She was offended by that. She took that personal, as Michael Jordan would. I'll give that a half a point for this little pre-match thing. Next, we got a tag match. So Willow is coming into the ring to have her match. Her partner is Queen Aminata, and they are facing off against Sky Blue and Julia Hart without Tekla. So interestingly, she comes in later. She doesn't come in for the match, but the start, Julia here distracts Willow so that Sky Blue can get an advantage to start the match. But I'm skipping ahead. Chocolate kisses from from Aminata, but Sky Blue broke it up. Here's a headbutt. This is the end. And then off with her head, as they call it, combination. Headbutt, off with her head combination, and she pins Sky Blue. Queen Aminata does. So, decently match, I will say. I will give it a half thumbs up. I liked everyone involved. But there's a post-match afterbirth. Next segment. Right away, Tekla enters to beat down Aminata. So these two who have had a storied rivalry so far since Tekla's debut in AEW. Willow comes in, pulls Tekla off Aminata, and enter Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne. So they enter the foray. I guess they return to attack Willow because they were offended by her. And they're just going to be heels, and why not? And then Harley Cameron comes in. So Harley Cameron's music hits, and she is a feared babyface at this point. She takes care of Penelope on the entrance ramp. And then this kick looked pretty good, I thought, from Harley Cameron. And she goes after Megan Bayne, but she is pulled off by Penelope there. And I think this is going to lead to the entrance of Chris Statlander. So Chris Statlander is turning babyface, it would seem, and running in there to help babyfaces. And there she goes. There goes Megan Bayne. So, all right, so Harley Cameron saved Statlander last week. They built some kind of rapport, and they seem to be friends at this point. So the heels retreat, the babyfaces stand tall in the ring. And that's that. So for the afterbirth, I will give a half thumbs up. I think for Harley coming in and being feared as a babyface is kind of ridiculous. But the Statlander thing is interesting because she's been approached by the Death Riders to join them, and yet she's turning babyface. So that remains to be seen what will happen. I'm interested a little bit, I will say. But I'm moving along. Next, we got Daniel Garcia. So he's accompanying Nigel McGuinness to the ring for his match at Forbidden Door for the New Japan IWGP World title. And that's all he could muster. So I kind of felt like a heel turn should happen. I'll just spoil it for you. It didn't, but I thought it was a perfect occasion for him to attack Nigel after the match. But let's see how he can justify him not being in Forbidden Door at all, really, for a match for himself. and I would be disappointed if I were him.
Here with Danny and Daddy Magic. Guys, some mixed emotions going on here. Danny, you lost a technical spectacle. You are not advancing to Forbidden Door. However, you did agree to be in Nigel McGuinness's corner as he faces Zack Sabre Jr. for that IWGP World Heavyweight Championship tomorrow afternoon at Forbidden Door.
Wouldn't say mixed emotions. Not happy. Would have loved to wrestle in the O2 Arena and to wrestle for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Would have been a dream come true. I'm not going to stand here and complain. When Nigel won that match, he showed that he was the better wrestler. But when he asked me to be in the corner for that match, I realized sometimes more important than being a better wrestler is being a better friend. So Nigel, just make me one promise. When you're standing in front of the O2 Arena, in front of your hometown crowd, you win that title, and you show once again that you're the better wrestler. We expect nothing less.
A lot of pressure, but
Yeah, fat chance. Sad promo for Daniel Garcia. All right, that's what it's come to. It's more important to be a better friend than to be a better wrestler. Gosh, you know what? I even might want to give that a thumbs down. Unfortunately, I changed my mind. Let's go on to the next segment. It's Max Caster Open Challenge Series, but the Scotland edition. So he's going to cut a promo in the ring. All right, let's listen.
I know.
You know what they say? You say it enough, people will believe it.
All right, so everyone's playing along in Scotland, so he gets to be cheered and chanted. Let's go, Max. You're the best wrestler alive. Funny.
Glasgow! You are looking live at the best wrestler alive! And the last time that I fought in this ring, Shibata could not last 5 minutes alone with me. And afterwards, he shook my hand because he respects me.
Shibata couldn't last 5 minutes in the ring with him because he beat him in less than 5 minutes.
And I know that all the Maximaniacs here in the Deer Green Place respect me too, so much so that you all want to chant my name. Let's go, Max. You're the best wrestler alive. Let's go, Max. You're the best wrestler alive. Let's go, Max. You're the best wrestler alive. Let's go, Max. You're the best.
This place has come unglued. This is unbelievable.
I can't understand the accent. I can't tell if you're actually doing it. I guess we'll have to try again next time we're here, hopefully in another 6 years. I'm sorry. Anyway, give me this. This is the Platinum Max Open Challenge, so let's put 5 minutes on the clock.
Oh, here we go. Who's it gonna be?
All right, and the music that hits as Nigel McGuinness asks who's it gonna be is the IWGP World Champion Zack Sabre Jr., who is going to face Nigel McGuinness this coming Sunday at Forbidden Door, so the next night. So his opponent for the next night is there. So they kind of set that up with that Daniel Garcia segment backstage. Do I give any points for the surprise? I guess I'll give a half point just for it being Zack Sabre Jr. and setting something up with him and Nigel here. But we got a match. It's going to be Zack Sabre Jr. versus the best wrestler alive, Max Caster. And, you know, he plays with him a little bit. He does take care of him. He looks over at Nigel, talks some crap. And the finish, it lasted a couple minutes, but he does make Max Caster tap out. So there you go. And I'll give that match nothing, I will say, no points. But post-match, he does come over to Nigel, and they jaw-jack a little bit, get in each other's face, shake hands very dramatically. But really, it's just an intense moment where actually Nigel grabs him by the hand, doesn't let go of the handshake. He comes back, and there you go. As Zack Sabre Jr. walks away, he says, "Sit your ass down," because that's where he belongs, on the commentary table. But there you go. They set that up, you know, kind of dramatically. I think it was okay. This whole thing was okay. I'll give it a half thumbs up. Very predictable. We all know Nigel's not going to win that match. But there's a post-match Afterbirth Part 2 over here for Max Caster. Anthony Bowens enters the ring, and he attacks Max Caster. So he has turned heel, Anthony Bowens, and he's beating down Max Caster. And he is very intense about the whole thing. Talking to the crowd, and someone's music hits. It's Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn, the former third member of the Acclaimed. These three were a team before. Now he's coming in by himself with sort of DX colors, I would say. And he confronts Anthony Bowens. Like, what are you doing here, man? Bowens wants to leave, basically. He doesn't want to listen to this shit. But Billy Gunn pulls him back. He's like, nah, man, you got to talk about it. But they stare down very intensely, and eventually Bowens just backs down, and Max Caster is unconscious on the floor over here. So I don't know. I don't know what to think of this whole Acclaimed thing. Honestly, Max Caster has just been made to look like awful in this whole Open Challenge series. I don't consider that a success at all, and Bowens just snapped and lost it. So I don't know. I can't give anything to this. I think I'm indifferent to it. I'm not too hot for this. But I'm moving on. Backstage, we got Chris Statlander. She's talking to Harley Cameron. So there's going to be an interesting development here as Statlander has been approached by the Death Riders in recent weeks.
Are we rolling? Excellent! Statlander, I have a gift for you.
Better not be another puppet.
No! Nobody does puppets anymore. Actually, I wanted to say thank you for your help with my quest of vengeance.
Sure.
It made me think. Have you received your $100,000 from that match yet?
No, actually, I haven't. It was supposed to come out of the Young Bucks' salary, but it keeps coming back as insufficient funds.
That's what I thought. Watch this. It's Holly! Give Statlander her money! Thank you. They said not until next week.
I said that last week.
I tried.
I'll get it. I'll give him eventually.
Man, the weather here is so, temperate. Hey, so have I ever told you?
Talk soon.
Success!
Wow,
John Moxley.
all right. So Harley, okay, weird storyline here. I will say I'll give a thumbs down to the idea that these $100,000 matches, the purse for it is supposed to come out of the Young Bucks salary. That's a weird thing to say. It keeps coming back, insufficient funds. Okay, how does that make sense? But regardless, they got their money. Harley went in there. The locker room, the door says male extras. So it's a Young Bucks locker room, but they put a sign that says male extras because it's just, you know, funny, I guess. They're fucking with him, the production crew. So Harley went in, asked for the money. She couldn't get it. Then Moxley went in, asked for the money, got it immediately, and gave it to her. So that's how badass John Moxley is, I guess. Okay. Overall, I'll give the segment a half thumbs up. I'm still interested in this whole thing with Death Riders and Chris Statlander, but it's going so painfully slow. Again, nothing happened on Forbidden Door, considering the whole thing. But let me move on from this. we got a match coming up. It's Tomohiro Ishii. He's the New Japan Strong Openweight Champion. I didn't notice that, but okay. And he's facing Takeshita. So they do show a replay or a clip of Takeshita accepting the trophy for winning the G1 Climax. And this is a this is a matchup, I guess. Interesting matchup. Don Callis is here with Takeshita. He's going to be on commentary. So Ishii, nice move from Ishii. He's a fan crowd favorite just because of the way he looks. This was a battle. The crowd appreciated it, but in the end, Takeshita is going to pick up a win, and that's that. So I can't say I personally care about this match at all. It was a decent match, but I was indifferent to it, honestly. So I'm moving on. Big Bill is here. Big Bill actually got some crowd support for this match against Mark Andrews, local guy, it seems. But yeah, he was taking in all the crowd support. It was kind of sad for him because he had to do some heel stuff after the match. But he does get the win pretty easily. And after the match, there is an afterbirth. No points for me on the match. But they decide to attack Mark Andrews with a steel chair and chokeslam him into a couple of chairs. It looked kind of weak. I didn't like the spot. Didn't think it looked that menacing. But yeah, he had to destroy the local guy as they were giving him support during the match. He walks out through the crowd. So the afterbirth itself, is that supposed to get him heat? I don't know. I don't think that was a great idea. Really, I can't give that any points. But this bleeds into a pre-match segment, I would say, as they're walking out. They watch the Gates of Agony enter, who they've been having issues with in the past, but they're pissed about this. Also, they just want to be in that tag team division and show who's boss, so they stare them down, and that's going to come into play a little bit later on. But here's our match. It's the Gates of Agony. Ricochet, their boy, comes in, and he's on commentary. They're facing off against Grizzled Young Veterans, so British guys here, but who made their big debut at Bound for Glory last year, but have done nothing since. They've just been totally botched. Interference here from Ricochet gives Gates of Agony the advantage. Not a short match. This was a regular match, I would say, but here's the finish. Zach Gibson takes the pin. He does the job, and that's that. So I can't give any points to this match, honestly. Nothing from me. Kind of sad to see Grizzled Young Veterans in such a state. All right, let's run through the rest of Collision real quick. We got Paragon, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong against the Young Bucks, Rod and Todd. So the production crew gaffs that this is the running gag that they've been playing on this show, is that the production crew messes with the Young Bucks. I don't think it's funny. But this is a dream match, I would say, in some generation. Not this one, unfortunately. Friendly fire from the Young Bucks here. They unfortunately hit each other. I'll give that a half point. Young Bucks are very athletic. This is their strong point, I would say. Not their comedy, but their in-ring stuff. Here's another move from Nick Jackson that I'll give a whole point to. That one is one of his best ones. And let's see what else we got going on here. Enter Don Callis. All right, Don Callis is here to help the Young Bucks, I would suppose. So they do have somewhat of an alliance. They're not in the Don Callis family. Matt Jackson is tapping out as Okada enters to help the Young Bucks. He grabs Kyle O'Reilly, gives him the Rainmaker, and then a TK driver from the Young Bucks, and they pick up the win thanks to help from their former elite stablemate Okada, but they're still aligned. Post-match afterbirth, they decide to beat down on Paragon. Why not? You might as well. If someone is there to be beaten down, all you have to do is just stomp them out. But music hits, and it's Swerve Strickland. So Swerve Strickland, we got an appearance from Swerve on Collision. He calmly walks in to make the save, although he doesn't really care about making the save. I think he's just here because Okada's here. But Okada sneaks out, and they don't have a fight on this night, on this collision. The day before their match, Okada doesn't want to do the extra work. But he thwarts a Young Bucks sneak attack, Swerve does, and Okada sneaks in from behind. So there you go. He does actually work on that knee a little bit. If he had an advantage, he took advantage of it. Smart guy, Okada is. Rainmaker on Swerve, and that ends our show today. That is the end. So we'll have to wait and see what happens at Forbidden Door as he steps on Swerve to end the show. All right, the Afterbirth. Do I give any credit for it? I don't know. I think the beatdown was senseless. Swerve coming in was kind of contrived. I didn't really love the ending of this, I will say. I'll give it indifferent. This whole feud between Swerve and Okada, I think, didn't really land, but they can make up for it by having a good match at Forbidden Door, I would say. So, all right, let's jump to Forbidden Door. Let's see. I got 45 minutes. Let's see if I could run through this whole thing real quickly. I got 4.5 points on my collision review. Again, a very skippable episode, just like Ring of Honor, very low score, unfortunately. But let's jump to Forbidden Door. Hopefully we have some more excitement out of it. Alright, I'm here at Forbidden Door. My review. Let's start with the pre-show. I might have a special listener for this review. Vlad, the wrestling expert who does our show, told us that he didn't want to watch this show today. He just didn't feel like watching Forbidden Door. It's too much. It's 4.5 hours. With the pre-show, it's 6 hours. Understandable. So he's gonna rely on my review for his summary. So I'm going to try to make as concise a review as possible. I'm hoping to do this in 35 minutes, 45 minutes hopefully. I'll just run through things. There are not many promos here, so I could just skip through and show some highlights from the matches, and that'll be it. So let's see. I'm gonna set a modest over/under today of 35 points for this fucking 6-hour show. Let's see if we can hit that. I think if they could do that, I would be satisfied. All right, we got Jeff Jarrett on the pre-show panel. Madison Rayne too. Jeff Jarrett, my favorite wrestler of all time, but I might be more excited to see Madison Rayne these days because they've just been doing nothing with Jeff Jarrett. Unfortunately, it was supposed to be a goodbye year for him, but it's been a disaster last year. Hopefully he gets a run at WWE to end his career or something. But we start the show with an 8-man tag. We're at the O2 Arena. Big crowd today, big crowd. It's Leo Rush and Action Andretti, the crew, and they're teaming with Don Callis, guys. So Don Callis is out here to introduce Hechicero in that way that he does. Don Callis as crew, Josh Alexander and Hechicero. So they're teaming up with the crew, and they're facing up against El Desperado, Paragon, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong, and Yuya Yamura, I guess, from New Japan. Don't know anything about him, but I will give a point here for this Action Andretti move. Like, Jesus Christ. That one, come on. Free content for the people there on the pre-show. They don't even deserve this. The finish, the New Japan guy, Yomura, pins Leo Rush with a deadbolt. So that's it. They pick up the win. There is a post-match, though. There's an afterbirth here on the pre-show as Don Callis' family hits the ring. I'm going to give it indifferent to that opening match, by the way. Don't care. Music hits. It's Ishii. Ishii walks in to make the save for the baby faces. Lance Archer is there to cut him off. He thinks like, yeah, bring it on, but you know, he cannot handle Ishii in the end. In the Ishii suplexes him, and that's that. So we got a moment there, but as far as the storylines go, Roderick Strong doesn't want to be friends with the conglomeration. Kyle O'Reilly is happy that his conglomeration stablemate helped him. He's trying to get back in cahoots with them, but Roderick Strong's kind of like a jealous friend and just wants Kyle O'Reilly to himself, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna give that part of this a thumbs down. The Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong stuff is awful. But Ishii coming in and making the save, I'm gonna say I'm indifferent to that. I don't really care. Let's move on to the next pre-show match. It's Ricochet and Gates of Agony, who will figure into the show very heavily later. And Jesus Christ, the sign, baldy bastard. They're facing off as a six-man tag. They got Michael Oku, who's with his girlfriend, Amira. Michael Oku, who we've reviewed his matches in Ring of Honor. And he's teaming up with Jet Speed. So I've been very impressed with Michael Oku so far. And here's a spot from him as we see he gets bounced out of the ring. Out of the ring, the selling. Wow, the selling is incredible there. I'm going to give 3 points to that, getting pounced out of the ring spot as his girlfriend is checking in on him. I think Michael Oku is just the style AEW loves. Here is, I don't know why I clipped this picture out of Toa Leone. He just looks like a velociraptor to me for some reason. Here's another spot from Michael Oku. Very nice dive out of the ring. I'll give that a point. Giving the audience some entertainment here on the pre-show. Here's a moonsault from Mike Bailey. I'll give a half point to that one. See that move often from him recently. And here's a Ricochet gouging the eyes while the ref isn't looking. So this leads to the finish, which is the Gates from the Gates of Agony and Ricochet himself with the elbow. And the heels pick up the win here on the pre-show. So nice win for Ricochet's team. Won't give the match any points, though, I will say. You know what? I'll give it a half point. Michael Oku, I think, should be signed by AEW, definitely. Don Callis. All right, so he's going to cut a promo. I guess this is the only thing I'm going to listen to from this whole show. He is Okada's manager. It's kind of important, so I don't know what he says, but maybe it's nothing. I'm just going to listen to it anyway.
Tonight for the Don Callis family. Earlier we saw you on 0 Hour, and later tonight on Forbidden Door, all of the Don Callis family titles will be on the line. So with that being said and the stakes being so high, are you at all worried?
Lacey, let me tell you, the Don Callis family has a saying, heavy is the head that wears the crown. We've got so much gold. I actually have to worry, not just about losing it in the matches. Someone could steal it. I have had to take out the most expensive insurance policies to protect our assets. Now, having said that, Swerve Strickland, got a lot of respect for Swerve. The problem with Swerve is he takes advice from a seriously challenged, psychotic named Prince Nana. So if you're going to take advice from Prince Nana and you're going to go in the ring against the greatest tournament wrestler in the history of wrestling, Okada, and the Invisible Hand, you have a very big problem, Swerve. And as far as Hiromu, my old friend from New Japan, sad to say, as good as you are, you picked the protostar Kyle Fletcher tonight, and we are going to crush you under our boot as we march into history.
All right, well, I expected to hear something maybe substantial that has to do with that match between Okada and Swerve, but nothing. All right, let's carry on with the pre-show. We got an 8-woman tag next. It's Megan Bayne, and she is with Penelope, and she's teaming up with Triangle of Madness. So Penelope is accompanying them to this match, and they're facing off against Queen Aminata, Willow, Harley Cameron, and Chris Statlander. All right, so she is very much a babyface, it would seem. No points from me here on the Chocolate Kisses, as Julia Hart doesn't really take them. She's kind of blocking them with her hands, so didn't really land to its full potential. Here's a double moonsault from Tekla and Megan Bayne jumping through the ropes, I guess. Here is Tekla and Queen Aminata. They fight off, so this actually bleeds into the regular show. So these two supposedly are going to be fighting for like the whole night or something. And Harley Cameron in the ring, she puts up a good fight, but in the end, she takes the pinfall from Megan Bayne, and the heels win on this night. So on this Forbidden Door pre-show, it's a win for the heels. I'm not going to give any points to this match. Moving on, though. Moving on. Let's see what we got. We got a backstage segment with Lexi Nair. Let's see who she's interviewing.
In here trying to get a word in with the Young Bucks ahead of their lights out steel cage match. This match is unsanctioned, which means as soon as that cage comes down, the lights go off, they come back on, anything goes. The gloves are off, there are no rules. Gentlemen, hi.
Where were you last night when we won on Collision? I didn't see roster for interview time now. Sorry, but we have other business to get to.
Hey, production guy!
Yeah.
Oh, look at you! You and your team, you think you're so funny, huh, you little prick? Oh, yeah, every week, preloaded entrances, ice cream truck versions of our song. I saw the stupid nameplates. You know when that changes? That changes tonight. Okay, because it's Forbidden Door. Yes. It's a pay-per-view. So tonight, we're going to play our old song. You're going to give us a proper nameplate, and you're going to give us the superstar treatment. Not only that, I got a little assignment for you, okay? The assignment is this. You're going to find the most dangerous things that you can find on the streets of London. I'm talking thumbtacks. I'm talking nails.
There's some right there.
I'm talking shards of glass. You're going to fill up this bag. You're going to put it underneath the ring. And we'll have a little bit of a surprise for our opponents later tonight. And the lights out steel cage.
Hey, and if you don't do this, you saw what we did to Justin Roberts, you stupid prick. You'll be next.
Heads are going to roll.
Get to work.
Forbidden Door, baby. Let's go.
Yikes, that was such a bad segment. Okay, I don't have a graphic for this yet, but I haven't used this rating in a while, but it's the Chris Jericho learning tree minus 10 points. I'm taking off 10 points for this. This is beyond vomitous. This is really bad. This is Chris Jericho bad. The whole acting, the whole idea of the whole thing, relying on these guys to get their weapons. So unfortunately, this Forbidden Door show, all the pre-show stuff that were positives are going to get wiped out by the Young Bucks, and I'm going to start the show with a negative today. Oh my God, here we go, more stuff. Tony Khan is talking. Does anyone want to hear Tony Khan talk? I don't know. Tony Khan is out to thank the fans here.
It is so great to be here for AEW and New Japan Forbidden Door. All of you have made history today for the biggest pro wrestling live crowd in the history of the O2. And now I'd like to turn it over to the head of the...
All right, so Martha Hart is with him. Owen Hart's widow. Nice to see her. I'm glad she's doing well. But all right, this is the guy. This is Tony Khan. This is the genius that we're all behind him. The man who's the only hope for wrestling, unfortunately. But all right, the last match on this pre-show, it's a bunch of New Japan guys. Clark Connors, Robbie X, Drilla Maloney. I don't know any of them. And they got a 6-man tag team, world tag team title opportunity against the Ops. Not a squash. This match lasted more than 10 minutes, but in the end, the Ops retain Samoa Joe with the Muscle Buster, and that's the end of the pre-show. Okay, so this match also, no points for me. But I'm going to go to the main show, so let's go through this. We have a 4.5 hour main show to do. Let's see how fast we can run through it. All right, we're here. Finally, the show is starting. Incredible looking crowd, incredible looking stadium. It looks beautiful. This is amazing, I would say. This is really cool. For that, I will give 3 points back, just for them getting the crowd in the door. What can you say? This looks amazing. Gotta be proud of them for that, at least. But all right, the opening match. It's the reunion match. Edge and Christian, they're facing off against Killswitch, Kip Sabian, and Nick Wayne's mom. Nick Wayne's mom, I'm going to give her 3 points today just for showing up. Thank you, Nick Wayne's mom. But all right, so the match is going to start. Christian is afraid to fight Killswitch because he used to be his muscle. And Edge is like, what the hell? So, there you go. There's Nick Wayne's mom, Mama Wayne. I don't really know what else to call her. Giving Kip Sabian some encouragement. If anyone's gonna win this match for her side, it's gonna be Killswitch because it ain't gonna be Nick Wayne. But all right, here's Christian looking for the hot tag. Here's some interference as Mama Wayne gets involved with her old boyfriend Christian, trying to give it to him, and he's going to get attacked from behind by Kip Sabian, and she yells at him. She tells Christian he deserves it. I'll give 2 points for the camera angle here. Moving ahead. Let's see. Killswitch has got Christian by the throat, goozled him, but Edge spears Killswitch out of the ring, saves his friend, and here's the finish. It's a spear from Edge as Christian lifts Kip Sabian up into it, and Christian gets the pinfall over Kip Sabian. Successful reunion for Edge and Christian. After this, they must go after FTR. So for this little while, or for this little feud that they got going on with FTR, Christian promises to be alongside Edge, but we don't know after that if they will remain together. So that remains to be seen. For this match, I'll say I'll give it a half thumbs up. It was Kip Sabian and Killswitch. What can you say? Moving on, we got a video package for Fletcher and Takahashi, and this is for the TNT title. The match itself, here's Takahashi, here's Kyle Fletcher. Let's see, for this one, I got about a 10-minute match, it would seem. Takahashi really tried his best, but Fletcher with the brainbuster out of nowhere, I would say this was just a competitive match. I didn't really feel this finish coming. It just kind of happened out of nowhere, and that was it. So overall for this, I think I was indifferent to this match. I didn't feel anything from it. I think it was too big a show to have a match like this, to be honest. So it did eat up some time. But I'm moving on to the next thing. Video package. This is the same video package that aired on Collision. It's what introduced all the characters from Stardom. Well, Bozilla from Stardom, Alex Windsor, as we know, Persephone from CMLL, we've seen her before, and they're facing off against the champion Mercedes. Bozilla is really the only new character here for AEW's audience. But here's Windsor, here's Bozilla, she's bigger than everyone else. I guess she's like 6 foot tall, which is big compared to other wrestling women. There's Persephone, and here is Mercedes. She's got, an extra ring walk entrance, and there's the TBS title. So at the start of the match, they all gang up on Mercedes, which was kind of funny, but it does devolve into a match between everyone else as well. Here's Bozilla showing some of her strength, throwing Mercedes out of the ring. It's a tough title defense for Mercedes, I would say, if she can survive this one. 3 really strong opponents. Cannonball Senton, I will play from Alex Windsor. It seems to be one of her staples, but glad she got something that she knows how to do safely that doesn't get her hurt. Here's a double submission from Mercedes Moné. Interesting spot, I will say. I like that one. Kind of like that one. Let's see what comes up next. I'm going to skip to, here's another double submission, double sharpshooter by Windsor. But the finish is that Mercedes rolls up Persephone. So Mercedes does survive the match and retains the TBS title. So there you go. Everyone else is obviously disappointed. I think I'll give the match a half a point. I think it was the right decision. I couldn't see any of these other girls winning this, but it was still a tough match, and I think it made Mercedes look pretty damn good. Let's see, we got a video package for the IWGP World Championship. This is supposedly what AEW is getting out of this show, the fact that they get to have a New Japan major title, the major title on this show. But, he's facing off against a non-full-time wrestler. Nigel's not a full-time wrestler. We know he's not going to be the IWGP champion. So that was given away early. The only interesting about this interesting thing about this to me is Daniel Garcia being in the corner of Nigel McGuinness, because I felt it was ripe for a heel turn for Daniel Garcia because his babyface character just sucks, and it's the only thing I can think of for him. So he lost. He lost that match, the qualification match. He was getting kind of babied afterwards, and he was upset about that. So I thought it was going to happen. I really don't know what happened, but it didn't happen. I will spoil it for you. Instead, we got a little vignette of Nigel playing chess in a park with some old dude that gave him a lot of, I guess, hype and encouragement, which didn't even help because he ended up losing anyways. But yeah, here's Nigel. Here's Zack Sabre Jr. Nigel takes it in. He's in his home country, obviously, so he's pretty happy about this. And here's Daniel Garcia, just there to watch and maybe throw in the towel, I guess, give encouragement. Actually, he does try to help a little bit, but not really significantly, as Nigel still loves hearing people sing his name. But this obviously was the match that you would expect. This was Nigel and, Zack Sabre Jr. just rolling around on the ground, putting submission moves on each other. Here's Daniel Garcia actually trying to help Nigel push the ropes towards him. So that was the only thing he did in the whole match to try to help him. Zack Sabre Jr. did confront him, and Daniel Garcia said he wanted that match with him. He wants him. So maybe that could lead to some kind of match between them someday. I don't know. I don't know if Daniel Garcia is a big enough star that New Japan would want him on their show. But this is the finish. Zack Sabre Jr. just a creative pins down Nigel with his legs, and disappointing end for the night for Nigel McGuinness. Zack Sabre Jr. actually shows him respect afterwards, does shake his hand and raise his arm. As we get in the ring, Daniel Garcia gets in the ring, and no heel turn, as I said. So this match I was very indifferent to. Unfortunately, no heel turn from Daniel Garcia, and that's about it. So Tony Schiavone comes in to announce the record attendance after the match, and that's all. That's all that happens there. So the camera cuts from there backstage. Surprisingly, we were not expecting this, but Queen Aminata and Tekla are still fighting from the pre-show. So they fought off in their match, and they continue fighting to the back here, and they fight all the way to the ring. There is a purpose to all this. Headbutt from Aminata. Enter Sky Blue and Julia to defend Tekla, finally. I don't know where they were this whole time, but okay. So as they're beating down Aminata, someone's music hits, and it's a surprise return of Jamie Hayter. So no shot of her. The camera kind of sucks here. They couldn't get one good shot of Jamie Hayter, but here she is beating up Triangle of Madness on her way to the ring, and there's a shot of her taking a huge swing at Tekla, but Tekla retreats, and the crowd was pretty happy to see her. Pretty big pop, I would say. She's back from injury, and she saved Queen Aminata. This was a better return from her than the All-In one from last year, because she didn't even make the main show last year. So I'll give a half thumbs up for the return of Jamie Hayter. Why not? She could be a useful character. She's a top girl. She should be in the title picture. But alright, moving on. We got the World Tag Title 3-Way. It's the Hurt Syndicate, FTR, Brodito. There was a video package for it. Here's FTR with Stokely. Will this be the night Stokely finally gets over and does something significant? No, it wasn't. But here's Brodito. Here's the Hurt Syndicate. Here's the World Tag Team titles. Eventually, the initial brawling that, bled outside of the ring calms down, and they all take their spots on the apron. No selling from Shelton here, as Dax with the chest chops. I don't know. I don't think Shelton is that strong a character to be no selling anything. Good moment between Lashley and Brody King. They actually had a dramatic face-to-face, and then traded fake forearms for a minute. So, all right, thumbs down for how they started that, but it did actually turn out to be a decent confrontation between Brody King and Lashley, as Lashley lifts Brody King into the air. Brody King no-sells that, and then gives a clothesline of his own. In the end, he's the one who clotheslines Lashley out of the ring. So Lashley is playing along here. He's selling. He's trying to show that some of these other characters are strong as well. But all right, I'm going to give this spot here a half point as the Hurt Syndicate catch Cash Wheeler. The crowd is going pretty wild here as Brody King flies through the ropes as well. But I think what was more impressive was the catch. And when someone catches a guy that size, I'm always impressed by that. Here's a 2-pointer from me. 2 thumbs up for this one. As Cash, what the fuck was that? That was rough. That was rough looking. Rewind it if you need to see it again. But Lashley and Shelton Benjamin here are starting to take over when, surprisingly, 2 New Japan guys come in with masks. They're wearing New Japan jackets, I guess. And they are not New Japan guys, as we will see in a second. But they kind of fight off with the Hurt Syndicate, taking them out of this match. So it's their world titles on the line. They're going to leave 2 other teams in the ring to fight for their world titles. Stokely sneaks in a chair, and the Hurt Syndicate still fighting with these masked people, and steel chair shot from Dax Harwood onto Brody King. At the same time, the reveal happened, so they didn't time that well. It was Gates of Agony. So Gates of Agony, wearing New Japan jackets, fooled everyone, I guess. I don't know what the fuck was the point of the New Japan. Or even wearing masks. Just come in as yourself. But from the steel chair shot to the head, Brody King kicks out. And Dax is pissed. He's frustrated. He hits the floor. So here is the Hurt Syndicate, yes, fighting off with Gates of Agony. The finish, tough move from Bandito. He usually does this thing well where he gets flipped onto his opponent by Brody King, but that one didn't really land well. And then I don't know what the hell happened here for the finish. It looks like Cash was trying to save him, and then he had a chance to save him again as the ref stopped the count, and then he stopped himself. Play this again. Let's watch this again. I don't know. That seemed all disjointed. That can't be what they were going for. I don't know what they were going for, so I won't give a thumbs down. But that was a weird looking ending. And Stokely is obviously hurt, in pain, and it is not the night he gets over. FTR do not win the World Tag Team titles. Brodito do. So this is the night Brodito get made. So there you go. The match itself, did I give anything to it for, I don't know, Hurt Syndicate fighting off with Gates of Agony? The best I could give it is a half thumbs up, I will say. I wasn't too fond of it. Bandito and Brody King, they want to be champion. Okay, sure, fine. I don't really know what it's going to do for either one of them. They both seem to deserve it, though, I guess. Especially Brody King. Bandito is a good, he does high spots, but, you know, sometimes he fucks them up. But I don't know. If he's already the Ring of Honor World Champion, too, they don't really need to give him the World Tag Team titles. But I'm moving on, though. I'm going to skip to the next match. It's the Unified title match. It's Okada and Swerve Strickland. So here we go. This is the Unified title. It's the Continental title is part of that Unified title. So I always feel like, you know, there should be no one there. Don Callis was there for that Kenny Omega match at All In. This time, though, I think I heard that they're supposed to follow Continental rules. He joins commentary, so he's not involved in the match. But, all right, let's skip to some spots here. Match opens with Okada threatening to hit Swerve while he's on the ropes. And Swerve repays the favor by slapping him in the face. And that's how we get the match started. All right, I'm going to skip to some spots. Let's see what we got. I think I got something from Swerve Strickland here. Going over the top rope. Okada putting in some work to catch him. I'll give a thumbs up to that spot right there. Let's see, moving on. Here's a DDT onto the steel steps for Swerve if you want to keep track of the damage he's taken in case you're actually keeping track. But here's some eye raking from Okada, some cheating. And here's the finishing sequence. There's a house call from Swerve, and then he goes for a second one as Okada seems dazed. But Okada ducks out of the way. Swerve misses, and then a Rainmaker, and boom. that's it. That's the end. Okada retains over Swerve. Am I surprised? I don't know. I don't think I'm surprised. I think I know Tony Khan respects him. I think a lot of people nowadays don't respect him because of the work he's been doing lately. But based on his name, he deserves the clout. And Swerve was willing to do the job, so I guess I don't know what to say about this. I'll give it a half a point. I thought the match was decent, but not great. Probably one of Okada's better matches. It is not as good as the Kenny Omega match, but still, I don't want to spend too much time on it. I just want to see if they're going to break away and take away that Continental title for the Continental Tournament coming up. And that would make me happy because I just want to see that Continental title away from the International title personally, but that's just me. There is an afterbirth though here. Okada goes after Swerve, locks his leg between the steel post and the steel steps, and then goes to town with the steel chair, gives him a couple of whacks, and someone is going to come to save Okada. To save Swerve. It's Prince Nana. So he has a steel pipe. Okada's like, all right, I'm done. I've got my licks in. And that's that for the moment, although not quite. So as Okada's leaving, enter Wardlow from the back, and he just walks in, waltzes in. I'm going to give a thumbs down to how they reintroduce Wardlow, just like walking in to attack Prince Nana, I guess? I don't know. This is the first guy to take a bump from Wardlow is a clothesline from Prince Nana. Ugh. Gosh. Okada and Don Callis are laughing on the entrance ramp, so I guess Don Callis has been promising an insurance policy, which turned out to be Wardlow. So he seems to be aligned with them as the security tries to pull him off. He has got this demented look on his face as he looks at Swerve. So Swerve looks like he's got his next feud lined up as Wardlow beats up on security, power bombs them, F5s them, and he hugs Don Callis, and the rest of the Don Callis family invite him into the stable, as does Takeshita, the G1 Climax winner, the alpha of the group. So even he accepts Wardlow into the group. Wardlow's return. The whole afterbirth was Okada attacking Swerve, Nana making the save, and then Wardlow returning. What do I think of this? I think I didn't like the way they did it. So I'm gonna give the whole thing a thumbs down. Overall. Unfortunate. Plus he's gonna be in the fucking Don Callis family. That's another fucking thumbs down in itself. But I'm moving on for now. Let's go to the next match. This is the big match. This is Toni Storm against Athena. I have made mention that I get this feeling that Toni Storm might not be in AEW much longer, because if they're doing this match, maybe they're just trying to get everything out of the way that they could possibly do, because this is as big a match as I could think of. The Ring of Honor Forever Champion? Are you kidding me? The American Joshi? Are you kidding me? The Fallen Angel? The Fallen Goddess, excuse me. She's not the Fallen Angel. Christopher Daniels is the Fallen Goddess against Toni Storm. Like, this is literally, after Mercedes and Toni Storm, the best thing I could think of for an AEW match. So she has Billy Starks with her, and here comes Toni Storm. Dressed, I guess she's got white face paint on. Very dramatic waves to the crowd in England here. And Athena signs her contract right before the match. So there you go. Hot start to the match. Athena tries to drop kick her right off the bat, and they go to town. And let's get this underway. Let's see what highlights I got. Toni Storm actually takes out Billy Starks early. She knows she's going to be a problem and just grabs her and pile drives her. But that doesn't take her out completely. Takes her out for most of the match. But that leads to Athena taking the advantage early on here. I guess you could consider that somewhat of a distraction. But I'm going to show some spots of Athena with her kicks to Toni Storm. I like how they look. They look not totally realistic, but at least she's laying them in. Semi-realistic to me. This is one of the stronger wrestlers in terms of doing that. and Toni Storm is in pain from this match. This was a struggle, as you would imagine. They're going for it. The AEW World Championship is on the line. Billy Starks wakes up, tries to interfere in the match a little bit, moving the apron about to distract Toni Storm. And she yells at Toni, saying, "I didn't touch you." You know, she's mad that she got pile driven earlier on. But this leads to an O-face from Athena onto Toni Storm onto the ring ropes. So that was an interesting O-face. Could have been a finish, but she landed kind of outside the legal pinning area, as you could say. And there's Billy Starks talking shit. And as the ref is distracted, she was actually going to grab a steel chair and use it on her. But Mina Shirakawa makes a save from outside. I'll throw in a half point to see Mina Shirakawa. Thank you very much. And she actually runs off Billy Starks, which is weird. Billy Starks just got super scared and ran. And the way she ran too was just like very cartoonish. I don't know, kind of too silly to me. A little too silly. I like it, but it just, I'm not going to give any points for that little part between Billy Starks and Mina Shirakawa. But Toni Storm catches the O-face and then catches her in the chicken wing. So that part where she caught the O-face was very interesting. Never seen that. The way that happened. Done very well. Very well. I'll give that a point just for the counter to the O-face there. And then there she is after the chicken wing takes her down for the submission hold. And Athena is going to have to tap out. So Athena does the job to Toni Storm here, and she is going to remain AEW World Champion. I will say I'll give this match a thumbs up. I didn't like it as much as the Mercedes Toni Storm match, but I still thought it was good. I think the thing with Mina Shirakawa and Billy Stark could have been done a little better. There was a missed opportunity there, and that's all I got to say about that. But I got to move on to the next match. It's MJF. It's Adam Page. They had a whatchamacallit video package for this. Sorry. I got 20 minutes left. Let's see if I could run through all this in 20 minutes. I got to run off to work. But what I found was funny was the crowd singing MJF's music. They did this also on Dynamite, but it just sounded funny to me because the crowd in Europe does this thing where they like singing, but MJF's music is one that's kind of hard to sing to. Okay, here's MJF. Danielson is on commentary for this match, Bryan Danielson. Here's Hangman Page. And MJF didn't execute his contract, plus as what he pulled off on Collision or on Dynamite by threatening to burn Mark Briscoe alive. He can also win the title here via countout or disqualification. So immediately MJF goes to the ropes, runs away, delays the start of the match. But eventually Hangman Page does get him in the ring and the match does take off. So here finally Hangman Page is laying into him. They fight on the outside here. I'm going to wait for it to get back in the ring before I show some highlights. Here's an Orihari moonsault from Hangman Page. He does it often, so I'll give it a half a point. If he saved it for big nights, maybe I would give more points, but he does it on freaking Dynamite or Collision when he's on there. So MJF, here he is setting up a table. It's going to come into play later. Again, weirdly that they could use tables, and it's not a disqualification. But Hangman Page gets up, and after Hangman gets called a piece of shit by MJF, he's going to do a backflip onto him and a tombstone pile driver combination. So I'll give that little combination a half a point. Moving on in the match, we got a Deadeye onto the table. Goddamn. I'll give that spot 2 points. 2 thumbs up. But why is it not a DQ? I don't know. That should be the end of the match. That should be a win for MJF, really, if the title changes hands on a DQ. But the ref's discretion, the ref, Bryce Remsburg, gruesome balls today, as we'll see in a little while. MJF didn't get pinned from that dead eye onto the table, though. His foot is on the table, and here's a drop toe hold from MJF onto a steel chair. Let me play the audio here of MJF talking to Bryan Danielson, who's on.
Just like you, he fucking sucks!
All right, MJF gets to curse on television. It is pay-per-view, though, I guess. And Danielson looks on. He doesn't get involved, though. Here's a running tombstone onto the table that was already broken. It looked really good. Blood on the table as well. So I'm going to give that spot a point. I'm impressed with MJF's strength. MJF here tries to take the count out as it would be a title change, but nope. Hangman Page beats the count. There's MJF taking the turnbuckle off, but he's going to go into the exposed steel himself, and he's going to get busted open. So there's MJF's color. Good color today. Looks good. I approve. And MJF sees that Hangman Page sees that MJF is cut, and it turns really dramatic. But after an exchange that the crowd is really into it, they both go down. MJF kicked out of a dead eye, and the two got a standing ovation from this incredibly large crowd. But moving ahead, MJF pulls out the diamond ring and he puts it on the floor, and he tells Hangman to hit him. He's trying to egg him on so he could get disqualified. He even spits in his face, but Page doesn't do it. Instead, he ends up, after thinking about it for a long while, spitting in MJF's face. So should he get disqualified for that? Shouldn't spitting in someone's face be a disqualification? MJF disgusted here. Obviously. That's how I would look if I got spit in the face. I'll give 3 points to MJF's look on his face for getting spit on. Although he just spit on the guy himself. Hangman got rid of the ring, but somewhere along the way, MJF got it back because he's going to use it later. Almost ref bump there. Here's actually a ref bump, and this is where things get really hairy. A low blow from MJF and a heat seeker, and the ref is trying to get up to make this count. When he finally gets there, he makes the count. This is the interesting part. Hangman gets his foot on the rope, but the ref is kind of fucked up, and he just makes the count, and he just lays there. And this is a repeat of the ending that the Mark Briscoe match had when a couple weeks ago on Dynamite, literally MJF won the exact same way, and the ref didn't notice. And he is fucking happy, and the crowd is happy, and he is basically celebrating. And here comes Mark Briscoe. So Mark Briscoe's music hits, and here comes security as he wants to beat Mark Briscoe's ass. Mark Briscoe has waited till this match has ended to come in. He's taking down security as he comes in and gets pulled away. And then he sees, MJF turns around and finally sees now that Hangman Page's foot is still on the rope. This is in a way hilarious, but also in a way it makes no goddamn sense whatsoever. Why Hangman is just laying there for like a whole minute or something. I'm torn here. I'm torn between giving it a thumbs down for how stupid it is and a thumbs up for how funny it is. But okay, so MJF is like, fine, I'm just going to take his foot down. And as he's running to take his foot down, the referee literally gets up right at that second and runs over there like he wasn't hurt at all. Like, what the hell was this? I gotta say, this is funny, but I can't review this. I don't know what to think. And then Bryce Remsburg, for once in his life, grows some balls. He's like, not here, not in this big arena, not like this. And he continues the match, and MJF is fucking pissed. But the match restarts. He pushes Bryce Remsburg. Hangman gets up, misses the buckshot, and then another low blow here from MJF. I thought this might be the end for Hangman, but that was a false finish. MJF is crying about it, and he distracts. His next idea is to grab the CMLL title, use it as a distraction, and hit Hangman Page with the contract, the Casino Gauntlet contract. That is a false finish as well, okay? Many, many false finishes. Now he's going to grab the diamond ring, put it on. I guess he picked it up at some point. I didn't see when. And then he's going to swing it at Hangman, and the ref is going to see it and catch him and pull it off. And for once in his life, Bryce Remsburg is a good referee. And then MJF gets cracked with the Casino Gauntlet. And then after a dead eye, here's the finish. It's a buckshot, and Hangman Page retains the world title here. So there you go. It's not too bad because MJF at least still has the contract. He could cash it in at some point, but that is that. I will give the match overall a thumbs up. I have to give a rating to that little portion of the match that I've just been wrestling in my mind with it, whether I like that spot where Hangman was just laying there for a minute. Today I'm gonna say I'm in a better mood. Maybe if it was a bad day for me, I would say it was stupid and give it a thumbs down, but I'll give it a thumbs up because God, he was just laying there for so long. Let me see if I can find an image of that. Let me rewind that because that was just too funny. There it is. Here's where he was laying down. This is where he sees the leg. Still there. After everything that happened with Mark Briscoe, and MJF turns around and he sees Hangman Page is in the exact same position. The ref is in the exact same position. Obviously, this was very stupid and weird, but I'm still giving a point just because I was entertained by it. It was so ridiculous. But I'm moving on. I got a few minutes left. Let's run through the main event, which was the big match between the Death Riders, who have Gabe Kidd and the Young Bucks on their side, and they're facing off against baby faces Darby Allin and Ospreay. Hates the Death Riders. Their friends, the Golden Lovers and Tanahashi, have decided to go into this lights out steel cage match with them. But okay, here's the cage. It's a pretty interesting looking cage. I think it's a cool looking cage. I think this aspect of it worked very well. I will say I'll give 2 thumbs up to the cage itself. It's like a Hell in a Cell, but with an open top. Never seen it before. Maybe it's happened, but I don't know. But let's see what we got. I will say though that the steel cage with the open top itself is kind of silly because why would you have a steel cage to keep everyone in if you're just going to have an open top? But anyways, here are the baby faces: Darby, Tanahashi, Ibushi. I got 100 bookmarks just for this match alone, so let's run through this in the next 10 minutes and we out of here. Kenny Omega, Golden Lovers reunion, and Will Ospreay, who had a dramatic video package to introduce him, is also here in his hometown. He climbed the steel cage to get a view of the whole thing. Here are the heels, the Young Bucks. Again, no graphics, not their old theme song, their old theme song, which who the fuck would have known that was their old theme song. Thumbs down on that. Here are the Death Riders coming in from the back. And here's the whole team, the heels, if you will. And the war is on, so they all run in and have a war. So I gotta just show you some spots here because this was a long fucking match. Mox and Darby, they get into it. They've been feuding like crazy. Here's a spot from Will Ospreay. This is gonna be a half point for me. For all the flipping and tumbling and for all the neck damage he has, he looks pretty good. Here's a great spot from Darby Allin flying into the ropes. I'm gonna give that one 2 points. I will say I really like that one. Darby flying in with those through the middle rope dives. The Young Bucks, who were supposed to get all kinds of weapons from the production crew, got gummy bears instead, and they are pissed off. But I'm not giving or taking any points for the gummy bears. I will say I gave my thoughts during the pre-show of what I think of this whole Young Bucks angle with the production staff is really beyond phony and bad. But here is Matt Jackson, or I think that was Nick, going into the gummy bears and taking a face plant himself. Really though, those gummy bears are very dangerous. If you really want my opinion on it though, I mean, what if it gets caught on your shoe? and then you're trying to go to the top rope for like a top rope move, and then you slip because of the gummy bear stuck in your shoe. So I wouldn't have risked this personally. There's no point. It didn't add to the match at all. So thumbs down for the gummy bears, I will say. Next spot I got is more gummy bear stuff. I guess Matt Jackson really dislikes gummy bears. He's like, what the fuck? They could have set that up maybe. If they had set it up that, God, I just hate gummy bears, then maybe this could have been a thing. But I've never heard that. And he spits out the gummy bears. And here's a... I'm skipping forward into this match, by the way. There's a senton by Matt Jackson. Will Ospreay getting color here. Good use of the tumbling, though, here from Will Ospreay. I like this spot. I'm going to give this spot a half a point. Let's see. Ospreay. Here he disarms Jon Moxley, takes the chair from him, whacks him with the chair himself, and he is pissed. He hates Jon Moxley. The Young Bucks. I will make a comment about the Young Bucks. They hit a lot of moves in this match. A lot of moves, but none of them seem devastating at all. They're so small. Here's Darby getting flung into the steel cage by Claudio Castagnoli. That's a point for me. Darby Allin getting flung around. Here's Kenny Omega checking on Darby. Tanahashi. Here's a spot where he takes on everybody, but I thought it was a nice spot. Like, kind of, the idea of it was nice, but it looked kind of silly. Everyone's selling for him, really. So no points for me on that. Darby Allin is going to get duct taped to a steel chair, and terrible things are going to happen here. So Jon Moxley is going to get a fork and basically stick it through, I think, Darby Allin's ear. Maybe he's got a freaking earring or something. I don't know. I really don't know what the hell the point of this is. They're just trying to be sick. They're booking for the sickos here. Shivani's freaking out. So I don't know. Do I give this spot anything? I don't think I'll give this spot. I think I'll give this spot a thumbs down as well. What I'll give it. A little too gory for me. I don't think this does anything for the match. If he's gonna rip his ear off, maybe. But Darby, defiant as he is, spits in Moxley's face. Moxley, aghast, can't believe it. But he tells Claudio to suplex Darby with the chair. I'd never seen that. I don't know. I feel like that could break your back or something. But regardless, there's the barbed wire table coming out. Marina's outside setting something up. And Jon Moxley's trying to put off getting put through this barbed wire table by Tanahashi. He's going through that table eventually. And as he's fighting with Will Ospreay, this is where it happens. So there he is. And I'll give a point to that. Come on. I don't know if it's real barbed wire, but still, for the idea of it and the way he sold it, I'll give it a point. Next up, we got Kenny Omega with an over-the-top rope dive. That looked nice. I'll give that a point for a classic Kenny Omega dive. And he is getting into it. Tanahashi wants to go to the top rope, but he's kind of old. The other guys are like, no, don't do it, man. Like, it's not worth it for you to die. So they kind of pull him down. I thought that was kind of a funny spot. I'll give that one a point. That was nice. So Ospreay does it instead. He goes to the top, moonsault off the top of the cage. It looked well enough, although everyone was there waiting for him to catch him. Tokyo Dome rematch here, Gabe Kidd and Kenny Omega. Nice to see that. I will say at this point that is my match of the year so far from Wrestle Kingdom earlier this year. But here's a spot from Darby, coffin drop, Moxley got blood and color. Him and Omega, they have history as they go at it. That's a nice callback, I guess you could say. One-winged angel from Omega onto Moxley, but that is broken up. And then Wheeler comes in, so enter Wheeler Yuta, and he is trying to save Jon Moxley and pull him out of the ring, but he's going to get caught by Darby. And then this leads to an iconic spot where Wheeler Yuta is going to get punched off the top of the cage and into the announce desk. Iconic. I will always remember this as the day that Wheeler Yuta went through the announce desk off the top of the cage, just like Mick Foley. This didn't land at all. He didn't even go through the table, really, so no points for me on that one, unfortunately. Jumped off the cage and didn't get any points. Poor Wheeler Yuta. Outside, Darby and Moxley have escaped the cage. They're on the outside, and Darby sets Moxley up on these tables that Marina set up, and he's going to try to go to the top of the cage and put Moxley through these tables, but Moxley is saved by Marina, and then Darby and Gabe Kidd end up going through these tables, which is a crazy spot, I will say. This was from fucking high up, and they hit that ground hard. So I'll give them 2 points for going through that mess. But we're coming up on the end of the match here. Here's the finishing sequence. It's a 1-1-8 Angel and Will Ospreay with the elbow off the top rope, and Tanahashi with the frog splash, and they pin Matt Jackson. So Matt Jackson, babyfaces get the win. There is an afterbirth though, believe it or not, even for this main event. I'll give this main event a thumbs up just to be nice. Not too high a score, but shit, they did a lot of things. Here comes the Death Riders after the match. So Darby and Kenny Omega are going to get locked out, so they're going to work on Will Ospreay's neck. And I don't know, the steel cage is open at the top. They could just climb in. Marina's climbing in here, so I don't know why the babyfaces don't climb in from the other side. I'll give that a thumbs down for the logic, but they had to have Will Ospreay in the ring alone, I guess, to get his neck broken. Here come the Ops. The Ops try to run in and help, but it's too late as Moxley does the job and ends Will Ospreay's career. Ospreay should just retire at this point. I mean, look, you have a family. It's just wrestling, dude. But yeah, so finally the cage raises. The Ops come in. Death Riders retreat. And I think they should have chased them there personally, but I think the show was over. I don't know. I'm giving that afterbirth a thumbs down. I didn't think it was really well done, but kind of a popcorn fart end to this show, in my opinion, as Will Ospreay lays there, and I guess he wants to take another sabbatical and go on vacation. But all right, finally, I've done it. I got 10 minutes to get to work, so I'm leaving soon, but I will say that I didn't hit my mark. 26 points. I think it was a good show, but I was trying to get to 35 at least, and there just wasn't enough on this show for me for 4.5 hours, I don't think. So I expected a little more. I was hoping it would be a little better, but it is what it is AEW, and that's Forbidden Door. What do we have to look forward to? Gates of Agony versus the Hurt Syndicate. But really MJF, I guess. He's still on the hunt for that world title. So we got to keep an eye on AEW for that. But all right, I got to leave. I will see you guys next time. I got to do SmackDown and Raw. Next live stream I do. I don't know if that'll be tomorrow or the next day, but we shall see. We will see you later. Have a good one.